My mother said, "Your sister's family will always come first. You are always last." My father agreed. I answered, "Good to know." So I put myself first in my own life. Separate money, separate plans. Then a family emergency hit them. They expected me to pay, but what happened next left them frozen. My name's Clay. I'm 31, a PR manager who reads crisis reports with my morning coffee. I fix messes for a living. I keep receipts. I write statements that don't shake when read out loud. That's my entire job. Take chaos, break it into bullet points, and make people see the truth. Oldest kid, only son. I've got a younger sister, Paige, married, 2 kids, a third, maybe, that's been discussed for 2 years like a Kickstarter. We grew up in a small house where the fridge hummed like a tired uncle and the TV never turned off. Dad worked long shifts. Mom kept everything together, which meant we didn't talk about anything unless it was about Paige. Sunday night dinner, 2 months ago. Meatloaf on a chipped plate. The family group chat was pinging on the counter, little puffs of blue and gray bubbles, while Paige's husband, Trent, scrolled football highlights. Mom set down a bowl, wiped her hands, and said it without looking up. "Your sister's family will always come first, Clay. You are always last." She said it like the weather. Then she added, softer but sharper, "That's how it is. Don't make trouble." Dad didn't even clear his throat. "Your mother's right." The fork was already halfway to my mouth. I put it down. No scene, no raised voice. Just a fact arriving late, but still exactly on time. "Good to know," I said. Paige didn't look at me. She tucked her hair behind one ear like she was on a call I couldn't hear. I went home, opened my budgeting spreadsheet, and put a line between their names and my accounts. New card. New savings nickname. Clay only. I turned off 3 shared subscriptions and the cloud family plan. It took 16 minutes. It felt like unhooking in 4. I didn't text anyone that night. I just wrote one sentence in the Notes app so I wouldn't backslide later. If you are always last in their house, you are first in your own. I slept hard for the first time in months. A week later, a real emergency hit them. Sirens and clipboard reel, and the group chat woke up. They expected me to fix it with a credit limit and a signature. They expected the usual Clay, quiet, fast, invisible. I answered, but not the way they thought. And watching their faces when they realized the script had changed, that was the first silence in our family that wasn't mine. My job trained me for this. In PR, we have something called a war room. It's a small conference room with a whiteboard, a speakerphone that hates humans, and a stack of sticky notes. When something breaks, we sit down and build the story. What happened, who's affected, what we can prove. Then we decide what we won't carry. My family has always been its own campaign. Paige is the client. 10 years of quiet sponsorships. Little things first. Splitting rent for her first apartment, just for a month. Paying the deposit when Trent lost a job he wasn't passionate about. Buying the twin bunk bed when my niece outgrew the crib. I told myself I was being a good brother. I told myself it would end once they stabilized. It never ended. It calcified. Mom's line for me was always the same. "You're good with money, Clay." "She's not. Help her get on her feet." Paige's line was different. "You make more than us. You'll be fine." Dad didn't say much. He just slid envelopes across the table with due dates circled in his blocky pen and said, "Paige is underwater again. Like weather again." There were little humiliations that don't look like anything from the outside. The way Mom would text me the last 4 digits of my card like it belonged to the family. The time Trent borrowed my car, curbed the tire, then posted a picture with the caption, "We outside." I paid for the tire. They commented, "LOL." There were honest moments too. Once, after I covered their daycare bill just this week, Paige hugged me in the driveway and whispered, "I don't know how to do any of this." I almost cried. Then she texted me a Target link for a $280 stroller and wrote, "Thoughts." I closed my phone. I kept a spreadsheet. I didn't plan to. It started as a receipts folder, then it became a tab in my budget, then it grew columns: date, ask, amount, reason given, what I said, what actually happened. I'd scroll it like a yearbook when I couldn't sleep. The totals climbed. They always do. Every family gathering turned into a PR panel where I was the quiet spokesperson for the campaign, keep the boat afloat. Paige brought emergencies. Mom brought guilt. Dad brought his silence. Trent brought reasons. I brought my card. If you need the timeline. Year 1, rent top-ups, utilities, oops. And 2, it's the baby panics. Year 2, car repairs, Trent's certification course he didn't finish, and the infamous, we forgot taxes. Year 3, we're moving, which meant I paid first and last month plus a U-Haul. The truck had my name on it. The lease did too. Year 4. 2 birthdays I basically funded. The family plan phone upgrade. We'll Venmo you. And a dentist bill with a crying selfie attached. Year 5. Daycare. Always daycare. The word sits like a brick. I'm not a hero. I'm a system. That's what scared me when Mom said I was last. Systems don't have feelings. They have functions. When she said it out loud, she didn't hurt me. She exposed the org chart. So I did what crisis people do. I separated the channels. New bank. New card. New Apple ID. I removed my email from their streaming accounts and the shared grocery list I'd been contributing to. I canceled one life raft at a time. I didn't announce it. I just unlinked. Then the emergency. Paige called me from the passenger seat of a Honda with the hazard lights ticking like a metronome. The baby had a fever that would not break. The urgent care had turned them away because of a billing issue. She was sobbing hard, the kind where words slide around. I could hear Trent cursing and the beep-beep of a card decline. They need a $1,200 hold, she said. Our card isn't going through. Please. Minutes later, Mom called, voice already up the staircase of accusation. If you cared about family, you'd have a card on file with them. This is what we meant by first. Dad took the phone. Son, fix it. We'll talk after. I stood in my kitchen with my hand on the counter. My phone showed me my face in the black. I could have paid it in 18 seconds. I have a good job. My emergency fund is boring and stable. I could have bought the whole urgent care patio furniture if they'd asked. But I remembered Mom's sentence sitting on the table with the meatloaf. I remembered quietly buying new tires. I remembered printing my spreadsheet at 2 a.m. and holding it like proof to an empty room. I remembered being last. I can't put my card on anything, I said. But I'll drive you there. I'll sit with you. I'll bring snacks. I'll ask the desk about options. I'm not paying deposits. Separate money, separate plans. Silence. The hazard light ticking got louder. Paige whispered, small and not mean. Clay, please. I swallowed. I'm coming. I turned off the stove, grabbed my keys, and ran. At the clinic, I paid nothing. I asked questions. I gave them a statement. Family in crisis, billing flagged, need care. The front desk had a payment plan. Paige and Trent enrolled. The hold went to their card. They got seen. They didn't thank me. That's not even bitterness. It's another fact. In the car, Mom called to review my performance. So you're really making your sister do this alone? She said. I didn't make her do anything, I said. I just didn't become a wallet. Same thing, she said. Dad grunted agreement. That night the group chat lit up. Clay refused to help. Dad, we're disappointed. Paige, no text, just a gray bubble that vanished. I wrote one message back. I'll help with rides, paperwork, advocacy. Not money. The replies were fast, selfish, unbelievable. Don't forget who helped you. No one has paid one of my bills since I was 18. I put the phone face down and made tea. I knew what would come next. They'd escalate. They'd try to force it public. They'd try to shame me into a transfer. So I built my war room. I printed the spreadsheet. I highlighted totals. I chased down every text where I'd said yes. I pulled my bank statements. I wrote a statement in plain language. And I waited. 3 days later, they sent for me. The call came during a product launch meeting. VP on slide 6, me on deck for Q&A. The caller ID said Mom 5 times, then a group FaceTime. MOM plus Dad plus Paige plus Trent. I sent it to voicemail. 30 seconds later, my boss slacked me. Your mic is on. I muted, apologized, and finished the slide about proactive messaging like a liar. When I stepped into the hallway, the group call popped again. I answered because I wanted witnesses, even if those witnesses were fluorescent lights and an ice machine. Mom started cold. We're at Grandma's house. Everyone is here. We're passing the phone around. Clay, tell them what you told your sister. I could hear murmurs, the soft clink of dishes, the theater of it. I pictured the coffee table, coasters, tissues, the print of the lighthouse. They'd staged it like a tribunal. Sure, I said. I told her I'll help with everything except money. Dad spoke, short, like a hammer. You are refusing to support family in an emergency. Trent leaned into the audio with that performative sigh he uses when he wants the room. We're drowning, man. We have kids. You don't. Do the math. Paige's voice came last, raw. The baby was so hot, Clay. I was scared. That tugged. It always tugs. I took a breath. I drove you. I sat with you. I advocated. I will keep doing that. I will not put my card on your accounts. Mom laughed, mean and light. Listen to the lawyer. You think you're better than us because you work in some office. I think I'm a person, I said, with boundaries. Someone, Aunt Bev maybe, said, In this family, we share. Okay, I said. Then let's share facts. I walked to an empty conference room, shut the door, opened my laptop, and turned on my camera. Hi, I said. I brought documentation. I shared my screen. No drama, no venom. Just a Google sheet titled Family Support Log. The grid filled the call like a baptism. Mom, what is this? Receipts, I said. 5 years. I didn't want to use this. But since we're holding court, I want the record. Row by row, I read. Date, amount, reason. Their words, copied and pasted. The $740 emergency rent, or we'll be on the street. The $1,350 daycare, just for 2 weeks. The $900 tires, we'll Venmo you Friday. The $2,400 moving costs. The $600 back taxes with a photo of a pink envelope. The $89 phone upgrade for the family plan. The $280 stroller that came with a heart emoji. I scrolled to the total. It was a number you feel in your chest. Paige started crying. Not rage tears. The kind that metabolize shame. Trent muttered, "This is so petty." Dad cleared his throat, like maybe he was choking on his own history. Mom said, "Oh, so you've been counting." "Yes," I said. "Counting is how budgets work." I dropped a folder into the call. PDFs of our texts, screenshots of "we'll pay you back," with dates, the repeated "just this once" lined up like fence posts. Then I did the PR thing I'm best at. I framed the message. "Here's my boundary," I said, steady. "No shared accounts. No card on file. No recurring charges. I will drive you. I will watch the kids. I will bring groceries you choose from a list within a budget. I will sit in waiting rooms. I will babysit during interviews. I will help you write emails. I will not fund your lives." Silence. "Aunt Bev, he's humiliating you, Paige." I shook my head. "I'm humiliating nobody. I'm telling the truth." Mom tried to spin. "He's punishing us because we said Paige comes first." I looked into the camera. "You said I'm last. I believed you. Now I've organized my life accordingly." Dad found his voice. "Clay, this is not how family works." "I agree," I said. "It's how banks work. And I'm not one." The chat blew. Cousins, uncles, the side characters all chiming in. "Money isn't everything. Kids are expensive. You'll understand someday." The word selfish sailed past me 5 times. I held up the last page, a simple 1-sentence plan. "From today," I read, "we run on separate money and separate plans." Mom tried one more time. "You'll regret this." I smiled small. "Maybe, but I'll regret it alone. Not while paying your late fees." I ended the call. I printed the spreadsheet on actual paper, the kind that thumps when it lands, and put it in a blue folder. Then I went back to work and answered questions about a snack brand with a straight face. The tribunal wasn't over. It was moving to a bigger room. They did what I knew they'd do. They took it public. The group chat buzzed like a hive. Siblings, cousins, second cousins we only see at funerals. Everyone adding commentary to a movie they arrived late to. Mom posted a paragraph with the tone of a pastor who's tired of sin. "Clay is withholding support during a medical crisis. He's kept a list of our struggles like a debt collector. We raised him better." Dad added a thumbs up. Trent replied with a screenshot of a bill like a court exhibit. Paige said nothing for 8 hours. Then she posted a photo of the baby sleeping, cheeks flushed and damp, and wrote, "We're okay." That was the only line that mattered. I didn't post my spreadsheet in the chat. I didn't tag anyone. I didn't leak anything. That is not my job outside the office. But I did something that mattered more. I made it impossible for my money to be accidentally helpful. I removed my card from autofill everywhere. I called the pediatric clinic and asked to permanently remove my information from any backup payer fields. They had me on there from the year I paid for flu shots. I called the pharmacy and did the same. I changed my Apple Pay default to a card that lives in a drawer. I set all my transfers to require Face ID and a passcode. I wrote, "No family reimbursements" on a sticky note and put it on my wallet like a curse. Then I changed the family plan phone account. This one hurt because there were memories buried in that bill. Paige's text from when I held her newborn at 3:15 a.m., Dad's calls during his late shifts, but it had always been under my name. I split it. I gave them 30 days and a discount code. I typed the text 5 times before I sent it. "Hey all, moving lines off my account by March 1st. Happy to help you transfer." After that, I can't see or manage anything. Separate plans equals fewer fights. Mom responded in under a minute. "So you're abandoning your family twice." I didn't answer. I took a walk. The sky was that wide winter blue that looks fake. I breathed until my hands stopped buzzing. The next week was loud, then quiet. There were the expected flares, a cousin calling me cold, an aunt posting a Facebook status about modern selfishness, Trent DMing me man to man to say I was ruining Paige's mental health. I ignored the chorus and watched behavior. Paige texted, carefully, "Can you watch the kids Thursday for my interview?" I said yes. I made dinosaur nuggets, cut grapes, wiped noses, read the same book 4 times. When she came back, hair frizzy from the rain, she stood in the hallway and stared at me like I was something she didn't recognize. "I got the second interview," she said. "That's great." She nodded. "I signed up for a budgeting class at church." "Cool." She swallowed. "I knew you were keeping track," she said, voice not accusing, just stunned. I didn't know the number would make me feel like I stole something. "You didn't steal," I said. "You asked." I said yes. "I shouldn't have." Her mouth trembled. "Mom said you hate us now." "I don't," I said. "I just love myself too." That night Dad called. He didn't talk about bills. He asked about my job. He asked if my back still hurt from sitting all day. He told me he'd seen a weird ad for almond milk. Small talk, but from him it was basically poetry. "I'm not choosing sides," he said finally. "I'm just old and tired." "Okay," I said. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a short ceasefire, and I took it. Mom, meanwhile, escalated. She called my boss. I found out when HR forwarded an email with the subject concerning your employee Clay. In it, Mom wrote that I had ethical problems with money and suggested clients not trust me. HR asked, gently, "Is there anything we should know?" I asked for a Zoom. I told the truth, clean and boring. Family boundary, financial entanglement, recent separation. I showed none of the spreadsheet. I said, "If my performance changes, tell me." My boss laughed, not unkindly. "Your crisis memo last week was a banger," she said. "We're good." Then she added, "But maybe change your emergency contact." I did. I put my best friend Noah. I texted him a screenshot with a skull emoji. He replied, "About time." After that, the quiet grew. It wasn't the warm quiet of resolution. It was the hollow quiet of a house after a storm. Everything damp, waiting to see what held and what didn't. Then the second emergency. Trent's car got repossessed. It was a Tuesday. He'd been juggling payments and lost. He texted me 3 lines. "They took the car. Need $1,800 to get it back. I start a job next week. Help." I stared at the numbers. The old reflex twitched. The new rule held. "I can't pay that," I wrote. "I can coordinate rides. I can set up a GoFundMe if you send me copy. I can help you talk to the lender." He replied with a wall of heat. "You loved being needed until it cost you." "No." I typed, then deleted. Sometimes the only statement is no statement. I drove the kids to school the next day. I taught Paige how to use the Notes app to log expenses. I sat with her while she called the lender and asked for a modified plan. We mapped the bus route on paper. I didn't send $1. When you remove money from a system that runs on it, you see the gears. There were fights between Mom and Dad about how we raise our son. There were whispered calls from Aunt Bev saying maybe I had a point. There was a text from a cousin asking for my spreadsheet template for a friend. There was even a message from a number I didn't recognize that just said, "How did you say no? Please tell me." I sent a copied paragraph. I didn't ask who it was. 2 weeks later, Paige texted me a photo, a pay stub. It was small, but it was hers. First check. She wrote with a sun emoji that used to annoy me and now weirdly didn't. I set up automatic bill pay. I sent confetti. She sent a screenshot of a $50 transfer to me with the caption, "Toward old stuff. Won't be much for a while." I didn't accept it. I told her to put it toward diapers. She said, "No, I need to practice." We argued for 3 texts. I let her win. And Mom. She held the line of moral outrage like a general who doesn't know the war is already over. She posted things. She called me names she would hate to hear on her own voicemail. Then she got sick of her own campaign. Outrage is exhausting when the audience doesn't clap. Sunday dinner came around. I didn't go. But then an odd thing happened. Dad showed up at my apartment with a bag of oranges and a folded newspaper. He'd never been to my place. He looked around like he'd walked into a museum. "Your mother made soup," he said, setting the bag on the counter. He didn't bring soup. We sat. He peeled an orange like he had done for me when I was 5 and feverish. We ate in quiet. He took a breath. "She shouldn't have called your work," he said. Agreed. He looked at his hands. "I should have said that earlier." Agreed. He nodded. Paige told us about the budgeting class. She made chili that didn't taste like regret. I laughed for the first time in weeks. He glanced at my wall, where I'd pinned a printout of a quote I'd found on a sticky note in a PR book. "Your story starts when you stop apologizing for your lines." What's that mean? He asked. It means I decide my sentences now. He stood. Okay. He put the newspaper under his arm. See you, son. He used son like an apology. It was enough. The next week the clinic bill came due. Paige and Trent paid the hold in chunks. Not because they got rich. Because they stopped waiting for me to jump. I kept my folder anyway. I like proof, even when I don't need it. I used to think boundaries were doors I slammed. Big, dramatic, satisfying noise. Lately, boundaries feel like sticky notes I put on the right files. Quiet, boring, unarguable. Here's what I know now. You are always last is a sentence about them, not me. I believed it, and it became a budget line. When I stopped believing it, the line closed. Saying, I won't pay is not the same as saying, I don't care. I drove. I watched kids. I filled out forms. I sat in plastic chairs that make your back ache. Caring is work you can't charge to a card. Families that run on one person's invisible money will call you cruel when you unplug. They are grieving the old machine. Let them. They'll either build a new one or learn to carry their own bags. Keeping receipts didn't make me small. It made me honest. The spreadsheet wasn't revenge. It was the only way to talk to people who deny history. Last Sunday, I got a text from Paige. No preamble. Thanks for not paying. I stared at it, feeling something slide into place in my chest like a drawer that finally found its track. How are the kids? I wrote. Sticky, she said. Loud. Alive. Good. She sent a photo of a small whiteboard on her fridge. It had 5 lines. Rent, utilities, groceries, clinic, savings. Next to savings, she'd drawn a tiny star. Mom hasn't apologized. That's not part of her vocabulary. But I noticed she removed the Facebook post about modern selfishness. Dad brings oranges sometimes and sits like he's learning a new language one noun at a time. Trent still hums with defensiveness, but he's been quieter. I'm not reading the group chat like a court docket anymore. Sometimes I mute it for days. My life got wider. I took a weekend trip without calculating how many emergency transfers might hit while I was gone. I started Pilates because my back is loud at 31. I rearranged my living room and realized I'd been saving the couch for a guest who never comes. I kept the headline in my notes app, separate money, separate plans. It's not a threat. It's a recipe. It makes Sunday afternoons taste like rest. If you want a moral, here's mine in one sentence, the way I write it for clients when they start to shake. I won't be last in a house I pay for. When the next family emergency comes, and life says it will, I'll drive, I'll sit, I'll sign my name to a casserole, not alone. And if someone says I am cruel, I'll say, good to know. Then keep living the story I wrote for myself. Simple sentences, short paragraphs, and a budget that tells the truth.